Okay, new lesson tayo. So we've already finished the definition and equation and also the situational problems for circle. This time, dito naman tayo sa parabola, which is another conic section. Okay, so let's start with the definition of a parabola. So if we have F, which is a point, and a line L, which of course does not contain F, so ibig sabihin, hindi mo makikita yung point F dun sa L. So, magkahiwalay sila. Then, the set of all points P such that its distances from F and L are the same is called a parabola. The point F is the focus and the line L is actually the directrix. Okay. Baka hindi pa masyadong ma-appreciate pero I'll give you a comparison. Yung circle, di ba? It is the locus of all points which is equidistant from a fixed point called the center. So, yung circle is actually, ay sorry, hindi yan circle, pero okay. Yun pong circle, set of all points siya na kung saan bawat point ay pare-parehas lang yung distance dun sa center. And yung distance, yung fixed distance na yun, yung tinatawag nating radius. So, isang point, masasabi natin na sa circle is nakadepende lang sa isang point, which is the center. Right? This time, yung parabola, hindi. Nakadepende siya sa isang point, which is called the focus, and nakadepende rin siya dun sa isang line, which is a directrix. So, dalawa na yung magiging condition. Una, dapat parehas yung distance nung point. Any point in the parabola must have equal distance to the focus and to the directrix. So, for example, kung nandito yung focus ko, F, tapos dapat nandito, or for example, nandito yung directrix ko na L. So, yung distance, for example, XY, point PXY, yung distance dapat mula dun sa point PXY at saka yung shortest distance mula dun sa point PXY papunta dun sa line, dapat laging equal. So, equal dapat dito yan, tsaka dito. So, ito, tsaka yan, dapat equal. And kapag pinagdugtong-dugtong mo nga lahat ng mga points na yun, makakabuo ka ng parabola. Okay? Ulit, ang requirements is that any point on the parabola should have equal distance to the focus and to the directrix or to the line, to the fixed line and to the fixed point. Fixed point is called the focus, fixed line is called the directrix. Then, how are we going to solve? So, paano natin ma-derive? How are we going to derive the equation naman of a parabola? Kasi 'di ba yung conic section or yung circle, dinerive natin from the distance formula lang kasi nga set of all points lang naman siya equidistant from a fixed point which is called the center. So, distance formula lang, point to point. Pero this time, meron na tayong distance from a fixed point and a distance from the fixed line. So, how are we going to derive the equation of the parabola? So, when the parabola x squared equals 4cy opens upward, the focus is inside the parabola. So, let's have an example. So, i-determine daw natin yung focus and directrix of the parabola. with the given equation, x squared equals 12y, x squared equals negative 6y. Sketch the graph and indicate the focus, directrix, vertex, and axis of symmetry. Okay, hindi ko pa nasabi pala yung axis of symmetry. Okay, let's solve. X squared equals 12y. So, kamukha yan ng standard equation natin, di ba? Yung standard equation natin kanina na dinerive is x squared equals 4cy, right? It is very similar. And therefore, by observation, we can say that 4c is equal to 12, right? And if 4c equals 12, we can solve for c. We can divide it by 4. And we can solve for c, which is equal to 3. Okay, how important is c? C. Sabi natin kanina, x squared equals 4cy is the standard equation of a parabola with vertex at 0, 0, and the focus is at 0, c. So, if we graph x squared equals 12y, ganyan po yung magiging itsura. The vertex at 0, 0, kasi nga naka-standard equation na siya. Kamukhang-kamukha siya ng x squared equals 4cy. Therefore, parehas din sila ng vertex which is 0, 0. Yung focus ng parabola natin kanina is FOC. So, nakadepende kay C kung nasan yung focus. But since magkamukha yung standard equation natin, by inspection, we can say that 4c equals 12 and therefore c equals 3. Therefore, yung focus natin is at 0, 3 since c equals 3. Kaya nandito ngayon yung focus. Okay. And how about the directrix? Sabi nga natin, si vertex ang gitna ng focus at directrix. The vertex is midway between the focus and the directrix. Therefore, if the focus is 0, 3, the vertex is 0, 0, then the distance between the focus to the vertex is 3, which is actually equal to c. Thus, we can determine the equation of the directrix from these given conditions since the vertex has the same distance, the vertex to the directrix has the same distance from vertex to focus. Kung 3 yung vertex to focus, therefore, yung vertex to directrix dapat 3 din. However, since nasa opposite side siya ng focus, kung positive si focus, nasa positive y-axis si focus, dapat nasa baba si directrix. Kaya, imbis na 3, since it is in the negative y-axis, the equation of the directrix is equal to y equals negative 3. Kaya ito po yung lumabas, or yan yung sagot. Kasi gitna lagi yung vertex, okay? So, kung alin man yung distance from vertex to focus, yun din dapat yung distance from vertex to directrix. However, kailangan nyo tandaan yung direction. Okay? Nasa opposite side si directrix, opposite ng focus. Kaya imbis na positive 3 yan, negative 3 yung nandyan na sagot. Okay, hindi ko na-mention kanina yung axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is, ito po yun. Yung magdahati dun sa parabola natin para maging symmetric siya. The axis of symmetry is actually the line which is perpendicular to the directrix. The axis of symmetry is perpendicular to the directrix. And passes to, dadaan po siya ng vertex at saka ng focus. So, ito po yung line na yun. And this line, for this type of equation, x squared equals 12y, our axis of symmetry is actually the y-axis. Wait lang, mag-charge lang. So, here, ano sa tingin nyo magiging itsura ng ano natin, equation natin na x equals negative 6y? Upward, downward kasi, yes, very good. Yung dinerive natin kanina nga, x squared equals 4cy, which is positive c, 4c, nag-open siya ng upward. Pero nung dinownward natin, pinagpalit natin yung position ni focus at ni axis of ni directrix, hindi natin dinerive, pero ang lalabas doon is magiging negative 4cy. At magiging downward yung, robot. Magiging downward yung ating itsura or yung itsura ng parabola natin. So, dito, titignan mo pa lang yung katabi ni y, alam mo na dapat downward yung itsura niya. And since kamukha niya yung standard equation natin na 4cy, agad-agad, ano yung vertex natin? Automatic is 0, 0. Okay. Yes. And yung focus natin is automatic nasa 0, negative c. Negative c siya ngayon, hindi siya positive c. Kasi nga, di ba pinagpalit natin yung position ni focus at ni directrix. So, from here, by inspection, the given equation and the standard equation, we can see that negative 4c is actually equal to 6, negative 6. Or actually, 4c equals 6 kasi parehas naman silang may negative. And we can solve for c, which is equal to 6 all over 4, or which is equal to 3 all over 2. Therefore, yung focus natin is at what? Negative 3 all over 2. Kasi yun nga yung c. How about yung equation ng directrix? Actually, dito pa lang, kahit hindi mo dinino-drawing, alam mo na kung nasan yung equation ng directrix. Sabi natin, si vertex ang gitna ng focus and directrix. Therefore, kung ano man yung distance ng vertex at focus, nandoon din dapat yung directrix. Nasa opposite sides sa. So, pag kinuha mo yung distance ng vertex at ng focus, makukuha mo actually is yung c, which is equal to 3/2. Right? So, yun din dapat yung magiging equation ng ating directrix. Y equals 3/2. Pero, depende lang yung sign niya. Depende sa sign ni focus. Kasi nga, opposite sila. So, kung si focus ay negative 3 all over 2, kung nandito yung focus, nasa baba kasi negative 3 all over 2, si directrix dapat nasa taas. Tama? So, dapat positive siya. So, tama na yung y equals 3/2. Pero yung kanina, positive, pag ginawa natin positive yung focus, which is positive 3, 2, nandito siya sa taas. Yung directrix natin nasa baba. So, nilagyan natin yun ng negative 3. So, this time, since negative yung focus, nasa baba yung focus, yung directrix nasa taas. Kaya positive y equals 3 all over 2. And again, the axis of symmetry is, okay, makikita mo yun, pag plinat mo na yung curve, ganito yung itsura. The axis of symmetry is actually, again, the y-axis. Axis of symmetry is y-axis. Kasi siya naman yung nagdi-divide dun sa parabola into 2. Any questions?
What about the x-axis? What happens if the axis of symmetry is the x-axis?
So, just as what John Lloyd is asked, what if, let's generalize the parabola. What if the vertex is not in the 0, 0? What if it's in any point hk? And what if it does not only opens upward and downward? What if it opens to the right and it opens to the left? What happens now to our equation? So, okay. So, what if yun nga, i-generalize natin. When it opens upward or downward, ang naka-square po is yung x. The squared variable is x. Okay, because the directrix is, oh no. If the parabola opens upward or downward, x po yung may square. The squared variable is x. When the parabola opens to the right, you see what the equation will be? Y minus k squared. Yung y naman ang may square. Y po, yung y variable ang naka-square, pero still naka-minus yan sa k, si x naka-minus pa rin kay h. And what do you think? Negative 4c. Yan. See? So this is now the general or the standard equation of a parabola. So, apat yung pwedeng maging scenario natin, tama? It's either it opens to the right, left, upward, and downward. I-generalize natin yung observation. Okay? Dun sa graph. Kapag si x ang may squared, kung si x ang naka-squared, it's either what? It opens upward or downward. Kapag upward, ang magiging equation natin is x minus h squared equals positive 4c times y minus k. Kapag downward, x minus h squared equals negative 4c times y minus k. On the other hand, kapag si y naman ang naka-square, dalawa lang yung pwedeng puntahan niya, it's either it opens to the right or it opens to the left. When it opens to the right, y minus k yun. Y minus k squared equals positive 4c y minus k, nasaan na h minus x minus h, and then if it opens to the left, y minus k squared equals 4c, negative 4c times x minus h. Okay. Yan na yung general or standard equation ng parabola. Kasama na dito yung vertex at 0, 0. Pag ginawa mong 0, 0, vertex at 0, 0, pwede mong gamitin lang din itong apat na equation. Tignan mo, pag naging 0 sa h, naging 0 sa k, ganun lang din ang bagsak. X squared equals 4cy, which is yung una nating dinerive. Okay. Ginawa ko lang na ang una nating dinerive is dun sa vertex at 0, 0 para mas mabilis siyang i-compute. Para hindi siya yung, pag hk kasi yung ginamit ko, mas mahaba yung, and baka mas lalong hindi yung masundan. Pero, this equations pretty summarizes the equations of a parabola. Nakadepende sa upward, downward, right, left. Okay, isulat din natin yung mga observation natin para wag natin makalimutan. Regarding the graph of a parabola, number 1, the focus is always, inside the parabola. Ibig sabihin, nandun siya sa loob ng curved part. Kung ganito, nandito siya dapat sa loob. Kung upward, nandun siya. Okay, lagi siyang within or inside the curved part. And then, however, the directrix is in the opposite way. Nasa labas naman siya. Ano pa? Okay. What can you observe regarding? Yes, the constant part is always 4c. Gaano ba yun ka-importante? Ano ba yung 4c? Why is it every equation there is a 4c? If we graph the parabola, for example here, ano na ulit yung c? C is actually the distance. C is the distance. Actually, it's not C. It's not always C. Some authors, some books use letter A. Okay. But for our discussion, we use C. So actually C is the distance from the vertex to the focus. Yan, si C. And it is also, of course, the distance from vertex to the directrix, L. C din yun. Okay? Vertex V2F or V2L. If the if we create a line which passes through the focus and parallel to the directrix. So, ito yung line na yun. Kapag gumawa ako ng line na dadaan sa focus at sa parabola, of course, which is parallel to the directrix, mai-intercept ko yung parabola at 2 points. Ayan. And meron tayong so, na-delete na lang. Meron tayong observation dyan. By the squared property of a parabola, kung yung vertex to focus po ay C, yung focus papunta dito sa point na to, which is kalinya lang din ng focus, and yung line na yun is parallel sa the directrix. This is actually twice C. And of course, because this is symmetric, this is also 2C. And actually, 4C is the distance ng points in the parabola na dadaan yung line which is parallel sa directrix. This line, segment, which actually passes to the focus and parallel to the directrix, this is called latus rectum. And 4C is actually the length of the latus rectum. Ano po ba kasi ang importance ng latus rectum? The importance is that latus rectum is a measure of how the parabola opens. Gaano kaluwang yung pagkakabukas ng parabola. So, merong mga pag masikip, maiksi lang yung latus rectum, if the length of the latus rectum is smaller, masikip din yung magiging pagkakabuka ni parabola. Pero kapag malaki, maluwang naman yung pagkakabuka ni parabola. Ganyan. The length of latus rectum is actually a measure of how the parabola spreads or opens up to infinity. Actually, this is up to infinity, no? Hindi ko na lang sinusulat. It should have an arrow which represents that it extends up to infinity. Yun po yung importance ng latus rectum. Latus rectum is always 4 times C. And C is the distance from vertex to focus, or it is also the distance from vertex to the length. Okay? Let's write this as another observation. Length of latus rectum. Circle has actually a latus rectum. The latus rectum is a diameter. The latus rectum of a circle is the diameter. Here, for parabola, the latus rectum is 4C, where C is the distance of vertex to focus, from vertex to focus. Any question po? So, ito yung mga observation natin sa parabola. Actually, the properties of a parabola na kailangan natin pong i-keep in mind. Okay? So that, if we are going to solve problems and we are tasked to identify each part, and kung gamit natin, we can use these relationships like the C and 4C and how the focus is placed inside the parabola, how the directrix is opposite the focus, or in the opposite direction of the parabola. So we can use that to visualize where are we going to plot each part of the parabola. Any questions before we proceed to the example? Yes. Okay. Very good. Hindi ko rin nasabi yun. Yung focal, actually, yes, that is a focal width. Meron din tayong tinatawag na focal length. Very good. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, focal length is actually C. Focal length is the distance from vertex to focus, which is yun nga, C. And focal width is the latus rectum, which is 4C. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, hindi kasi namin masyadong ginagamit itong terms na focal length and focal width sa analytic geometry because focal length and focal width is actually used in other, what we call, pag in-apply na siya sa ibang branches ng sciences, for example, sa paggawa ng satellite, okay, ito na yung mga terms. So, but if we confine our discussion in geometry alone, or analytic geometry, latus rectum lang, latera recta, yung mga ganun yung mga tinatawag na term. But they are also called this focal and focal width in other branches of science or mathematics. But you can also use them if you want. Any questions or any addition? Thank you for that. No, 4C is the 4C, yung buong 4C, yun yung length ng latus rectum. Hindi mo na siya i-divide. Kung meron ka ng standard equation, kung ano yung nandito sa labas, yun na talaga yung length ng latus rectum. Okay. Pero pwede mo rin siyang kunin, for example, kung ang meron ka lang is yung focus and vertex, pwede mo rin makuha yun kasi 4C nga. And focus sa vertex is C. Any questions pa? Or any addition? Sino nagsabi ng focal width? Hello? Ivan Mayrina? Anong apelido mo? Makalanta. Nice one. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. Doon na tayo sa example na tayo. Okay? So here, for example, the figure shows the graph of a parabola with only its focus and vertex indicated. Ano daw yung standard equation? Diba? Yung standard equation natin, okay? Observe muna natin yung graph. It opens to the left. Therefore, yung y dapat ang may square. So, y minus, k squared yan. Y minus k squared equals, since it opens to the left, it should be negative 4c times x minus h, where hk is the vertex. And it is not a problem because it is given. The vertex is given as 5, negative 4. Therefore, our h is 5, our k is negative 4. Our only problem is c. Okay, but hindi rin problema rin pala kasi given naman po si focus and we know that the distance fv is actually equal to c. Right? So magdi-distance formula na lang tayo to find c, which is equal to the square root of x1 minus x2. Sabihin na natin f yung 0.1 and v yung 0.2. So we have 3 minus 5 squared plus negative 4 minus, actually, minus tapos negative 4. Actually, si vertex and focus naman laging magkakalinya yan, no? So, it's either parehas sila ng y or parehas sila ng x. So, imbis na mag-distance formula ka, minsan, ang gagawin mo na lang is, pag-minusin mo na lang yung, kung ano man yung hindi parehas sa kanila. Kasi, the vertex and the focus always lie on the axis of symmetry. So, they will meron at merong isang coordinate na pareha sa kanila. Depende kung nasa upward or downward, right or left direction siya. But in this case, because it opens to the left, the axis of symmetry is horizontal. So, parehas sila ng, parehas sila ng y coordinates. So, magzi-zero lang yon. So, our C is actually 3 minus negative 5, that is negative 2 and negative 2 squared. And negative 4 plus 4 is 0, so negative 2 squared is 4, and the square root of 4 is 2. So, our C is 2. Sir, hindi ba positive negative 2? No. C is a distance, so we would only consider the positive value, so positive 2. Therefore, we can now write, no, kasi meron na tayong C. Ang kailangan lang naman natin sa standard equation is yung C and yung vertex. Meron na tayo. So, y minus what is k? That is 4, negative 4. So, magiging plus 4 to squared, which is equal to negative 4 times c is 2, x minus 5. So, we have y plus 4 squared equals negative 8 times x minus 5. This is now the standard equation. So, hindi nyo na ba i-distribute? Hindi na. Kasi nga ganito nga yung tsura ng standard equation. Ganyan dapat. Pag in-expand at din-distribute mo yan, magiging general equation na siya. So, you see, to get the standard equation of the circle, you only need the vertex and focus. Malalaman mo na yung standard equation. Okay, merong pangalawang tanong. What is the directrix? Sabi natin, directrix or the vertex is midway between the focus and the directrix. Yung distance to vertex to focus, in our example, na-compute na natin C, which is 2, right? What is now the directrix? So, mag-compute ka mula dun sa V, papunta sa directrix, dapat 2 din. Okay, and the directrix is parallel or perpendicular dun sa axis of symmetry. So, ibig sabihin vertical yung directrix natin dito. Dahil vertical, ang equation natin is x equals. X equals what? Depende dun sa vertex. 5 yung x value ni vertex, dagdagan mo ng 2 kasi yun yung distance yung vertex papunta sa directrix. Bakit 2? Kasi yun din yung distance from vertex to focus. Dapat equal lang sila. Kung 2 dito, 2 din dapat sa kabila. So, dagdagan mo lang yung x value ng vertex, x coordinate niya, 5 plus 2, yun na, 7. Kaya x equals 7 yung ating directrix. How about the axis of symmetry? Again, sabi ko nga, the axis of symmetry is perpendicular to the directrix and passes through the focus and the vertex. And obviously, yung line na yun is of course y equals negative 4. Kasi yun yung y value ng v and f. Dun ka lang naman titingin para makuha yung axis of symmetry ng parabola. Okay? Kung ano yung value ng y coordinate ni f at saka ni v. So, y equals negative 4. Y kasi nga, opens to the right po tayo, ay left. Pero syempre, iba ng usapan kapag yung parabola natin is, ano siya, yung axis niya is naka-incline. Pag ganyan na yung parabola natin, iba na yung usapan. Hindi na natin masyadong magagamit yung mga shortcut na to. Pero hindi naman natin pag-aaralan dito kasi medyo mas komplikado na to. So, we'll stick with, sabi ko nga, disclaimer ko nung una pa lang, tinanggal natin yung dun sa standard equation ng formula, ay yung general equation natin ng conic section. Tinanggal natin yung mga terms na may xy. Kasi yung mga terms na may xy, sila yung magpapahirap sa atin. Sila yung mga kailangan ng axis rotation. Kasi yung axis nila axis of symmetry nila, ganun, is naka-incline. Any questions po? So, yan ang sagot natin. Yung directrix is 7. The x equals 7. Axis of symmetry is y equals -4.
How did you get 7 again?
Okay. I get 7 because since the parabola opens to the left, that means that the axis should be horizontal, right? And the directrix is perpendicular to the axis of symmetry. Therefore, the axis of symmetry should be vertical. And all lines that are vertical has this form of equation. X equals C, or x equals A, where A is will depend on where the line passes. So should we determine 7? Because the vertex and focus has a distance of 2, and since the vertex is midway between focus and the directrix, the distance from vertex to directrix should also be equal to 2, right? And because of that, I can now determine this equation. Y7, the x-coordinate of vertex is 5. So at this, if I draw a line that passes through the vertex, a vertical line that passes through the vertex, the equation of this line would become x equals 5 because it passes through the vertex. But the directrix is 2 units to the right of this vertex. So if we adjust to the right, we add 2 plus 2. Therefore, you get this line. The directrix is x equals 7. Did you get it?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
What's gonna happen to our attendance? How do we do it?
Okay, I'll check it. I have an automatic attendance on here, Google Meet. Don't worry. Is it already time? Is it time already? Is it time already?
7 more minutes.
7 more minutes. Okay. Because I have